Tower of Champions Road, a catastrophic tower that is so inconceivably difficult, less than 500 people in the world have beaten it. Filled with highly advanced Pierce gameplay, you need a perfect understanding of mechanics such as bottom clicking, strategies for nearly every jump, and amazing camera control if you want any chance of beating this. Yet, with all that in mind, I managed to come out on top as a champion. Day 1 was about what you'd expect. It mainly consisted of me getting comfortable with floor 1, having to play at a slow pace with some unoptimal strats. I did get a few runs to floor 2, one of them I failed the super tricky wedge wraparound, an attempt to the wall hop recovery that saves you from having to redo floor 1.
Well, time to do this, I guess. No, wait. Somebody clip that. What is that? First time I've tried that too.
Later on, I went into practice after someone in my chat told me about a strategy for the wedge wraparound that involves using the E-Dance 3 emote to push yourself away from the wall the exact same amount every time, increasing the consistency of the jump. And with that, I passed it, but then fell shortly after to another really hard jump onto. Day 2 wasn't as eventful. The good news is I was already starting to get more consistent at floor 1, meaning I was getting to floor 2 more often. The bad news is my PB jump only increased by 3, meaning I didn't quite get a run to floor 3, which is a little bit easier than floor 2. This was the furthest I got. Day 3 was the most eventful yet. My consistency on floor 1 increased even more, while on floor 2 I was starting to get some jumps down that I was struggling with, which quickly led to my first floor 3 run. I fell on the first jump, twice. Needless to say, I wasn't very happy about that. But little did I know, I'd get not 1, not 2, but 6 floor 3 runs before doing something completely unexpected. Yeah, I got a floor 4 run on my 3rd day of grinding the tower. I did not expect this, so I was very happy to have gone that far already, even if I did fail in a dumb way. Keep in mind though, floor 4 is the hardest floor of the first half. Days 4 and 5 were a bit different. I spent both days practicing the second half of the tower, which is harder than the first. I wanted to be well prepared for my first net run so I could get as much out of it as possible. Since it was just practice, there's not much to mention. Day 6 didn't have anything interesting happen, sadly. I had less runs on 3 than on day 3 and no runs to 4. This is the point in the grind where I needed to trust that I would gain muscle memory for jumps I was struggling on, and to keep pushing through. Day 7 was a better day for me. I got 2 runs to 4, unfortunately both times I failed before I could reach my PB jump. But that didn't matter, I was just happy to notice my consistency improving. Day 8 was worse. I didn't get any runs to 4. I had 2 runs that were close to reaching 4, but I failed some easier jumps. But that's just part of the grind, there will always be ups and downs. Day 9 was a turnaround. I only had 1 run to 4, however I managed to extend my PB by a bit, nailing 3 really hard jumps that I hadn't had any tries on yet in a real run. Not getting back to 4 for the rest of the day didn't feel the greatest, but I was happy to have extended my personal best. Day 10 was okay. I got 2 runs to 4, but both of them I failed early on. At the very least, I was proving I can get runs to 4 nearly every day that I grind this from now on. So at this point I had 6 runs to floor 4. Take a guess at how many 4 runs I had by the end of day 11. 7? 8? Maybe even 9? Try 12. That's right, I literally doubled my runs to 4 in one singular day. This was by far my most eventful day yet, and to no surprise, I got a new PB. My PB jump is ridiculously easy. Regardless, it was still a new milestone. I was sure any day now a run to the safety net was coming, and I was excited for what tomorrow would bring. Day 12 was far less eventful. I only had one run to 4, obviously still better than no runs, but when compared to day 11, it doesn't look the greatest. I failed near the start too, which is fine I guess, because that's one of the hardest parts of 4 for me. Day 13 was a big day. I had 2 runs to 4, however the first one was my best run yet. I got all the way to the second last jump of 4. I was so close to reaching the safety net, but I couldn't pull through. I will admit though, the last 2 jumps to the floor feel tough for me, so I was kinda expecting to fail one of them, especially when nerves become an added factor. Day 14 didn't have much going on. I had 2 runs to 4 and neither of them got that far. Again, I wasn't completely losing my consistency on 1 to 3 as shown by getting to 4 twice, so I was fine with this. Day 15 was technically my best day yet, but also my most discouraging. On my first run to 4, I was getting really far. I got back to the second last jump, which I had failed 2 days ago. This time though, I landed it. Only one more jump stood between me and being on the safety net. There's not much to say, I kinda rushed the jump. It's also not an easy jump at the same time, like I said, but I just felt so defeated after failing it. This was a huge blow to my mental, but I did not give up. I got a second run to 4, where I somehow walked off on one of the last few jumps. Even though these were 2 tragic fails, I realized how much better I had become at the first half of 4 compared to my first few runs there, so I was still confident I could do this. So I failed the last jump of floor 4 yesterday. I started my stream like any other day, trying not to let my fail get to me. Then, just 10 minutes in, I got a run to 4. I was playing really well right now, but I remembered back to my previous 19 runs to floor 4 and thought I'm just gonna fail in some dumb way again. But here I was, chugging my way through the floor, not making any mistakes, until this happened. Yes! 10 minutes! Let's go, chat! Let's go, chat! Oh my god, you were here. Holy shit! How did I just do that? Oh my god. I had finally done it. I had gone past floor 4 after 20 painstaking attempts at it. I felt like I was on top of the world, like nothing could stop me now. However, deep down, I knew that the worst was yet to come. Floor 5 is a free pass, so I stepped into the tunnel that teleports you up to floor 6. And this is where things really begin. The second half of the tower is harder than the first. I cannot stay up here forever, as I will eventually get disconnected, or the server will crash in 1 to 2 days max. But after all, I practiced the second half a ton. How hard could it really be? The answer is very, very hard. Being on the safety net for a long time is mentally draining. I played for nearly 6 hours, and the furthest I got was floor 7. Things weren't looking good for me. I at least got there 7 times, and I nearly had a run to 8. Nevertheless, I was disappointed I didn't actually get to 8, considering it's the hardest floor on the second half. It was late for me, so I left an auto clicker on overnight to AFK, and prayed that I wouldn't return to me being disconnected. After a night's rest, I got straight to work. I started my stream, and in only 50 minutes, I got a chance at floor 8. Although, I already failed at the second jump. The first half of 8 is brutally difficult, and I knew I was going to need a lot more runs to 8 if I wanted any chance at beating the tower before I disconnect. About an hour later, I got 5 more runs to 8 over the course of 40 minutes, in which I failed the second and third jump. My mental was taking a blow from this, but there's nothing I could do except suck it up and continue playing. Then, another 40 minutes later, I had another 8 run, where I failed the second jump, again. Now don't get me wrong, the second and third jumps are really hard, some of the hardest on the whole floor in my opinion, but I was not expecting to fail them this much. Part of that was due to me using a strat I came up with myself for the third jump, instead of forcing myself to get comfortable with the more ideal way of doing the flip. Later on, I had my 8th run to floor 8 where I played much better this time. I failed the last really hard jump of 8. Everything after that is still failable of course, but I was way more confident I could get to 9 if I passed this last flip. On my next 8 run I failed the second jump again. Fortunately, I wouldn't get another 8 run for the next 2 hours. On the other hand, this run was my best one yet. I passed the last really hard jump of 8, however failed shortly after to a pretty easy scroll wheel flip. I was disappointed as I was expecting to fail something harder once I got that far through 8. But again, there was nothing I could do except keep playing. Later on, I had 3 more 8 runs, each of which looked promising as I didn't fail one of the first jumps, but sadly I did not reach my PB jump. After those 3 runs, it took over an hour and a half to get another 8 run, which didn't exactly go well either with me failing the 3rd jump. At this point, my run had been going on for nearly 24 hours. For the past hour or so, everyone else on the server appeared frozen on my client, which was a sign I was very close to being disconnected. I had already begun accepting that I was going to lose my run at any moment when it finally happened. I expected myself to get, more tired of this floor 6 music than I currently am. Now I'm just kind of too...
I just saw that. Oh, Christ.
Like I said, a Roblox server can only stay up for so long. My internet had held up, it was actually the server itself that crashed. I was left feeling pretty defeated, but at the same time, I didn't expect to beat it on my first attempt at the second half going into this. So, after a bit of a break, I returned to the tower. On the 18th stream, I didn't get back to net, or the 19th, or even the 20th. Admittedly, I was feeling discouraged. I was told it'll be easy for me to get back after my first net run. But here I was, struggling, having some strats stop working for seemingly no reason. But then, a few days later, when I was playing off-stream, it all started coming together.
Colors weave into a spire of flame. Distant sparks call to a past still unnamed. Bear this torch against the cold of the night. Search your soul and reawaken the undying light. On that day, when the sky fell away, our world came to an end. In our eyes did a fading sunrise in the dark, glimmering shadows. Silence grows in the spaces between, stretching out beyond time. Rising up as a chorus of souls finds a voice, flickering through the void. These little sparks cling on to life, everyone caught in this struggle. And then the storms of change, they fan the flames, scattering ashes to the wind. Every soul contains a whisper of light, gleaming faintly as it dwindles from sight. No escape, no greater fate to be made. In the end, the chains of time will not break. Colors weave into a spire of flame. Distant sparks call to a past still unnamed. Bear this torch against the cold of the night. Search your soul and reawaken the undying light.
Much better prepared for the second net run than my first, I quickly started my stream back up and immediately got to work. To my surprise, floor 6 felt like a cakewalk to me. I hardly even had to spend any time on 6. Meanwhile, if you look at my first net run, probably 80% of my time was spent solely on floor 6, if not more. Floor 7 got incredibly consistent by the end of my first net run, so I was feeling really confident about this. And on my first run to 7, I got past it, already reaching my PB floor 32 minutes into the stream. I fell, but then quickly got back, where I had this insane run, which I think speaks for itself. Yeah, I just fluked from halfway through 8 to near the end of 10. To this day, I still have no idea how I managed to do this, as I'm not usually the kind of person that flukes towers. I was kind of upset I didn't beat the tower on that first 10 run, but I was also incredibly happy that I fluked so much of the later floors. This boosted my confidence even more that I was going to beat it for sure. Sadly, it took nearly 5 hours to get another run to 10, where I proceeded to fail the same hard jump again. I expected to fail this jump at least once though, so I wasn't too upset. Fortunately, I quickly got another run to 9. Little did I know, this would be the start of the most intense 15 minutes I've ever experienced playing Jeta. On my 5th run to 10, I finally passed my PB jump. There's very little left in this floor. What's important to know is that if I reach the final jump, I cannot fail it. This is because I will be teleported and slowly pulled towards my death. With that in mind, I'll let the rest of this play out.
Yes! Let's go! Let's go! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I was absolutely ecstatic. I couldn't believe that I had just done the final jump, securing my win. Now all that's left for me to do is to take this cup to the cave over here and walk into the wind pad. And no, you can't die at this part because there's a teleporter that saves you even if you fall out of the cup. Well, that just about does it for me. You can find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/thebabydog. I stream every Thursday to Sunday at 8 PM Eastern Standard Time. I'll also start streaming here on YouTube. Oh, and I do stream on TikTok Live, although I doubt any of you will prefer to watch me there. Also, thank you all so much for the support on my Generation Failure video. I really didn't expect it to get so many views. Well, that's all I have left to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.